Hey there, Full House Rewind fans. Did you see that little follow button? Yeah, that one right there. See it? Yep. All you have to do is just push it and follow and click and do something, and then you're following us. And then we're best friends forever. Okay, just go ahead. Welcome to episode 19 of Full House Rewind. I'm your host, Dave Coulier. Our guest today is none other than Mark Cendrowski. He's my best friend since third grade. We went to the same grade school together, same high school together. We were roommates way before Full House, but you probably know his work directing shows like Mom, 2.5 Men, and The Big Bang Theory, to name just a few. And he's also an Emmy-nominated television director. And we're about to learn so much more. Here's a pic of Mark when Full House was on the air. Okay, here he is. Please welcome Mark Cendrowski. Ooh, thunderous applause.
Cut it out. Thank you.
Thousands of people.
Much.
So I wore our Notre Dame hockey jersey.
I'm very impressed. That goes way back.
Yeah, way back. I wore this 20 pounds ago. Yeah. And I still, there's blood on here. Apparently I never washed it.
Yeah, washing's not something you were good at.
I got hit in the mouth, and I remember it never came out. So
and that was what, sophomore year uniform?
This was sophomore year
junior?
Because they changed our jerseys. Yeah. So anyhow, I thought I'd wear it just to, nostalgia.
Takes me back.
Yeah.
Wait a second.
So I introduced you as Mark, but I've never called you Mark in my entire life, okay? Because his nickname is Cinder, all right? His last name is Cendrowski. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about episode number 19, also known as the 7-month itch. Part 1, this is a two-parter. And on Full House, this is actually our first two-parter that we did on the show, on the series. Episode 19 was directed by Lee Shallett. Mm-hmm. Remember Lee Shallett?
Yep.
And it first aired on ABC on March 11th, 1988. Cinder, you and I are going to give a little rundown of the episode and tell everybody what it's all about, all right? You got your rundown stuff there?
I'm ready to go.
Okay, ready? All right, hit it.
Okay, unbeknownst to the family, Jesse leaves the house after becoming frustrated because of his lack of privacy.
Oh, what an actor.
Thank you.
Author. All right, we're going to describe what's happening in the episode together. I'm going to start us off. Episode 19 opens with Jesse in the living room talking on the phone with Samantha, discussing their date. The family enters and quickly exits for their trip to Disneyland. A little while later, Jesse and Samantha enter the house and discuss their day playing tennis. Jesse tells her how happy he is to finally have some privacy and offers to make them dinner. Ooh.
But just as Jesse is serving champagne and gets ready for dinner, the family arrives back home, revealing that their flight was canceled due to the foggy weather. Jesse walks into the kitchen, discovers Joey, DJ, and Steph seated at the kitchen in front of his candlelit dinner that was meant for Samantha.
Ooh, trying to make the best of the situation. Everyone is seated in the living room as Danny announces family fun night. They begin singing songs to try and cheer Stephanie up. She goes upstairs and is obviously disappointed about the canceled trip to Disneyland. And everyone leaves, giving Jesse and Samantha some alone time in the living room.
But DJ enters the girls' room and talks to Steph about her disappointment. Cheers her up briefly by tickling her as the tickle monster. Danny enters and gives some fatherly advice, which cheers Stephanie up a bit, and the girls both attack Danny as tickle monsters.
Oh, and then across the hallway, Jesse and Joey enter in to the Pink Bunny room. Joey tells Jesse that he's happy about being a part of the Big Tanner family. And Jesse tells Joey that he has no privacy and that living in the Tanner house is holding him back.
So later that night, Jesse dreams that Samantha enters his room. They're interrupted, though, by DJ, Stephanie, and Michelle, who in this dream can talk. Danny and Joey also enter and remind Jesse that it's his turn to take care of the girls. The dream nightmare continues with the entire family haunting Jesse, all shot through a fisheye lens.
Well, then Jesse wakes up from the nightmare in a cold sweat. And he says he's got to get out of this house. That's what Jesse says. The next morning, Danny and Joey go to wake Jesse and discovers a note lying on his bed. The note says that Jesse needs to get away and he may not come back. Steph and DJ enter and ask where Uncle Jesse is.
To be continued.
To be continued. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah. Anything come to mind as we recap this episode? Any thoughts? Now, you watched this, right?
Of course, yes.
You did your homework.
Yes, I did.
Always did his homework. I'll get into what a great student he was.
Yes.
Okay. We'll get into everything.
And what a great student you weren't.
Oh, well, that's coming up too. Okay. All right. So you're watching this episode because now you're looking at it through different optics.
Oh, very much so.
30 some years later, right?
Very much so.
So anything come to mind? Like,
well, I think the thing that stands out is the structure of the shows.
Yeah.
First of all, being a two-parter in the first season, oftentimes back in those days, two-parters were saved for special episodes, maybe the end of the season or something.
Yeah.
But this was something done early, and I think it was the first time you ever saw Mary-Kate and Ashley on camera together.
This was, I believe, the first time that they were together.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't think it was the last time. I think it happens again somewhere down the road.
It does.
But
it does.
But this one, I mean, they were still quite young here for season.
And they talk.
And they talk. And who was that voice?
Ooh, me. I used to love doing those voices. They would go, Dave, can you do a baby? And I'd be like, okay. It's going to sound like me doing a baby, but it'll be a baby. So now we got to tell the audience here. All right. So you and I, Cinder and I have known each other since third grade. Yeah. St. Isaac Jogues in St. Clair Shores, Michigan, our hometown. Now, I do remember the first day that I met you and I thought, I'm going to be this kid's friend. Do you remember the same? Do you remember whose class it was in?
I'm not sure the class because you were in, we
had home rooms.
We had home rooms. You were in Sister Judith's
Yeah.
class, I believe. I was in Mrs. Miller.
Mrs. Miller.
Because there were 4 home rooms.
But we had a class together. And that was like the first time I walked by your desk.
Was that an English class?
Might have been. I think it was English and we were getting our papers. You had to go up to the front desk and get your paper
and come back.
Yeah. And then you'd walk back and go, oh, man.
I'd go, wow, another A. And you would say.
Yeah, a U. We used to get a U. I was like, unsatisfactory. Yeah, I got a U in conduct in third grade, which my mom and dad weren't happy about that. But
did you ever get a satisfactory conduct?
I did. Yeah, I turned it around. I turned it around. Mid third grade, I turned it around. Okay, so now I walk by your desk, and you had a notebook.
Yeah.
And you were drawing stuff.
Probably sketching and drawing and doodling and
because you were a good artist. Not great in third grade. But because you just like put your crayons away, and now you're into sketching.
I could draw Snoopy. I could draw cartoon characters from Peanuts and other characters. But my own was a Martian character.
A Martian, yeah. And I can still draw that character too.
Yeah.
So he had like bent antennas, and his eyes were good. So I walked by Mark's desk. I walked by Mark's desk. And I see him drawing, I go up to get my paper and I see him drawing these Martians. And I was like, I want to get to know this kid. He looks weird. So that was like when I knew I was going to be friends with you.
And we were weird together.
So how would you describe me as a kid?
Oh, geez.
Because, all right, before you start, because Mark was like always, we had sections in our school, section 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Mm-hmm.
And I was always in section 1, but he was in this special group of 6 people: Bill Shield, Tim Smith, Sue Browning, you, Danny
Clausa,
and Janet Rutledge.
Yeah.
That was the pick 6.
Special kids.
And they went advanced. And I was just like, I just want to go out and throw a ball around at recess. I don't know what they're doing in this special class, but it was the super smart kids. Okay.
Yeah.
So super smart kid, go.
Yeah, but still, we looked down upon all the peasants that you guys were back in the other room. But we stayed friends.
I'm gonna so flick
we
you.
played a lot of. We played baseball together, little league. We played hockey together against each other primarily when we started.
Yeah.
But you all knew who the hockey players were, who the baseball players were. You played football, I believe. I never.
I did intramural football,
okay.
like 6th grade.
Yeah.
And I was a quarterback.
Oh man, there's a scary
I was the only
thought.
kid who could throw. None of the other kids had an arm. So I was the only kid. Coach was like, all right, everybody throw the football. And I threw one. He goes, all right, you're quarterback. I was like, okay.
Tells you the talent level of that team.
Yeah. My football career never went anywhere, just so you know. Never made it to 7th grade. Yeah.
But it was a great time back then, and a lot of friends. And I look back, we're fairly lucky. I mean, it's been how many years since we knew each other? 8 years old, right?
8 years
Third
old.
grade.
So
and we still have some other friends from grade school that we stay in touch with. Colonel.
Our friend Colonel. We were the Three Stooges together, we called ourselves. We goofed around.
Grade school and high school. And then still friends today, which I think is a little rare.
Yeah.
When we hear it from other people.
It is.
I can't believe you guys are still friends and still do things together and vacations and
And I'm godfather to Mackenzie or Christopher.
You should know that.
I should know. I think it's Mackenzie. Yeah,
it's
I'm Mackenzie's
my daughter.
Yeah, Mackenzie's. Yeah. So, but then we embarked on comedy.
Yeah,
because we started like writing cartoons and stuff because you could draw.
Drawing.
And we would draw little funny cartoons and stuff. But then we started. I had older sisters. You had older brothers.
Right.
So we would listen to their albums.
Right.
And then we got a hold of, I don't know if it was Gary or Dwight. Your brother Dwight had a George Carlin.
George Carlin's one of his first albums.
Toledo
AM-FM.
Window Box?
No.
AM-FM?
AM-FM, which was
The 7 Dirty Words?
one side. No, it might have been there. The AMF. No, I think the 7 Dirty Words came in his next album.
Okay.
The most famous, Class Clown.
Because I remember we'd go to your house.
And we'd memorize things.
We would memorize stuff. And then I remember one time your mom was home, Helen Cendrowski, who called me son number 4. Your mom was home. And I remember I blasted the volume on George Carlin's record. And you're like, my mom's home. She can hear that.
Well, there was the one, the FM side had the big bit with the S word. That was all about the S word.
Right.
And that's what you were blasting.
Shoot is the word he's talking about.
And that's what you were blasting. We were afraid we were going to get in trouble.
Yeah.
That was very edgy stuff. And
Catholic school kids.
Yeah, you would get in a lot of trouble just for
you have
those
to say Hail
impure
Mary.
thoughts.
Yeah, that's right. Go to confession.
But yeah, that was the start of it, doing that. And then that translated to fooling around in class, being the class clown and me being the instigator.
That's true.
Which would be primarily, hey, Dave, do this. This will be funny. And then you would be the one that would do it and get the laugh, but also get caught.
I would get caught. And in 3rd grade, I sat behind Lizzie Kulaluka.
Yeah.
She was good cover. So I'd do something, I would do and then hide behind her, and the teacher would,
Couldn't figure it out.
Well, because what is the teacher thinking? Was that real gas? Was that just a kid?
Well, with you, most likely it was.
Yeah, probably.
It was only half the time. Would it be a fake? But yeah, that was we learned we compared techniques on how to blow hand farts, and
yes, because there is a technique.
Yes,
there is a technique. All right, now we go to Notre Dame High School, Harper Woods, Michigan. And you and I get picked to do the morning announcements.
Right.
It was a fall ticket drive.
Yes.
We would raise money.
Yeah.
And I remember we wrote a bunch of bits. Our principal, Conrad Vachon, enlisted us. He said something like, you two, but why don't you do the announcements for the fall ticket drive? And,
So we started doing them
So we wrote bits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We would do Takeoff. I remember the Three Stooges, which were big influences for us.
Sell 80%.
Hello.
Yeah. And then we did a Sha-na-na
Yeah.
Takeoff. But we would do these bits, and I remember we would listen down the hallway to see if we were getting laughs. And you'd go, "You're getting laughs. Keep going.
Keep going. It's working."
But it was an all guys high school, so the guys loved it.
Yeah, because it was the driest thing. I mean, normally announcements, I mean, you can look back at as dry as, Ferris Bueller, the kind of things that were announced over the loudspeakers, and we brought a little life or levity to it, I think.
Yeah.
And people enjoyed it. And that was, I think, the turning point to, hey, maybe we can instead of just getting in trouble for doing things, maybe we could make some money doing this.
We could, and then we did, and we did make money.
Yes.
Now you got to remember, this is the 1970s. Our school was very liberal. You could wear your hair any length.
No dress code.
No dress code. I never wore a dress to school. No dress code, and you could smoke in our cafeteria.
Yeah.
So rather than, I guess the theory was, rather than having guys leave the school grounds and going and smoking somewhere, they decided it'd be a great thing to open up the smoker in the cafeteria, is what they called it.
Yeah, the one half of the cafeteria was smoking section. Not unlike what they eventually came to with restaurants becoming, having the smoking section.
That's true. Or on airplanes, which makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, because it's not going to travel.
It's not going to travel.
Not travel at all.
So,
that was a big deal.
Senior year, we did a lot of stuff at like hockey parties and banquets and stuff. We would write sketches, you, me, and Colonel, our other buddy. And then senior year, we do Linus Pauling and the band.
Yeah, that was the big comedy show that we decided primarily. I think the motivation for that was we wanted to pay for prom. We wanted money to pay for prom, to get money to pay for the restaurant and the tickets and tuxedos.
You drew our posters.
Yeah.
I still have one of those posters. I was going to bring it, and I couldn't find it. But it was Linus Pauling, who is a Nobel Prize-winning chemist or something.
Physicist, I
Physicist,
think.
yeah.
I think.
So he had a really funny picture. And I would do his voice, so we named our group Linus Pauling and the band.
He was up in Welliver's class. He had a picture of him up in Welliver's class.
And he was a funny-looking guy.
Yeah.
And so we named our group Linus Pauling and the band, and we did sketch comedy, like Monty Python and Saturday Night Live.
Right.
I did stand-up 3 different times in that show.
Right.
So we do our first show, and 800 people come.
A little over, yeah. $1 a piece.
Yeah, for $1. And we're like, man, I think we got money for prom, So we do this show, which was like a 2.5-hour sketch show, and that was the first time I really did stand-up in front of a crowd.
All untested material. I mean, really, if you think about it, it was pretty aggressive and brave because we didn't know if it was funny. We thought it was. We were making each other laugh.
Yeah.
But we were expecting maybe a couple hundred people, friends to come out. We had to start the show late because Father Bryson came. Oh boy, big crowd out there. We got to wait for everyone to get seated.
Yeah, and Brother Swan.
Yeah.
I remember he had done something like a play or something near Broadway. And he said, you guys have what is called a sellout. And I was like, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, but it was very popular.
We graduate from Notre Dame High School. I kick around Detroit for a little while. You go off, because
I'm in the smart section.
You're in the smart section. You go off to the University of Michigan. You study communications as your major, right?
Yep.
Do you think, looking back, do you think that really helped you in your career?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. It was. I still go back.
I know you teach. You're teaching
to lecture, and once a year, or twice a year, we'll go back to the university because it is.
He's never had me as a guest, by the way, and I live in Michigan. They never asked me like,
"No,
hey,
I'll tell you what to do. I'm the director. I'll tell you what to do."
Right.
But it helped a lot. The school, it was a great school. They had a lot of great people. Teachers and working there, and you learned a heck of a lot, really, about the whole industry. And a couple people, a couple teachers had great advice I talked to about before moving to LA about what to do for looking for jobs, what the world was like in LA, what to expect.
I think mostly you asked me about what LA was like because I was already in LA before you got out there.
Well, I think I asked, hey, can I sleep on your couch?
That's pretty much what it was. That's what it was all about.
When I move out.
Yeah, and then we were a stand-up comedy team.
A little bit.
See and Ski for what, like 2 shows?
Maybe
2 shows.
Maybe.
We didn't have a long run.
No.
But you remember any bits that we did?
It was just a screw around. The bit I remember the most was the 3 Mile Island bit where we had 2 waste baskets and we put them over our heads, and we're the 3 Mile Island towers talking to one another.
Yes.
And that's the one time I remember Einstein's theory of time expanding was definitely true, because it felt like we were on stage for hours. It was no laughs. It was the only people laughing were the 2 of us in our heads. And,
because we thought we were funny.
And the crowd was just not into it.
They were not buying it.
I think we were a little ahead of the time.
We were satirical and just edgy. Like top notch material. And then after that, I was doing stand up. I would come home, and then you were doing stand up with your brother Dwight.
Brother. Yeah,
and then
we had to keep things alive when I wasn't in school. In the summers working, and the comedy clubs that was really the start of the comedy club boom across the country.
Yeah, the clubs were opening
everywhere. But Detroit, Mark Ridley, who ran the Comedy Castle, was one of the first ones. Yeah, and so it was fun to go out and perform, just to write stuff and see if you could do it. And I liked doing stand up. I never wanted to be a stand-up, but
you weren't good at it. Let me just say, you weren't a great stand-up. Okay,
no, but,
just so now I got to get into this because when you and Dwight were doing your stand-up, Ski Squared, right? That was the name of the duo. You did this character Mark Suave,
right?
And he was kind of a lounge singer, like Bill Murray's, kind of like that, a little bit of that character. But you would unbutton your shirt.
You had a leisure suit.
You had a leisure suit, and you would unbutton your shirt, and you'd look at a lady in the front row, and you'd show a nipple.
Yeah, a little flash.
A little nipple. And then you'd go to the lady in the front row. I know what you're looking at. Now cut it out.
Yeah.
So I have to say, I stole Cut It Out from you.
Yes, you did. Yeah, that was one of the big bits from our act, and Cut It Out. You're too kind. You're beautiful. I love you. Come on, cut it out. And you said you were going to steal that.
I told you I was gonna steal it, and then I did. I hosted a show on Nickelodeon called Out of Control, and I did it in my audition. And I remember the producer, Bob Hughes, said, "I love that, whatever that thing was you did." And I said, "Oh, cut it out." He goes, "Oh, we're going to make that your hook."
Yeah.
And I was like, I better call Cinder.
And did you? No.
I ran with it. Close. I ran with it,
For years.
Yes.
For years.
Yeah. And then, so I stole that. So now I'm out here in LA, I'm doing stand-up, and then you graduate from Michigan, you come out, and we're roommates.
Moved out immediately, yeah.
We were roommates over on in Sherman Oaks.
Yeah.
And then, because I remember I had just gotten a car, and you didn't have a car.
Well, I did not at first.
Not at very first. But I remember driving you to work at Paulus Productions over in Malibu, right?
Yeah, one time. Yeah,
one time. It was probably let's say it was a dozen times.
No,
okay,
I wouldn't ask you.
So it's starting to equal out with the cut it out thing.
Yeah, you wouldn't drive me out there that often.
But that was he's a liar. Paulus Productions.
Paulus Productions. They were a Catholic production company.
Yeah.
That did a weekly show. That
they didn't do Davy and Goliath.
No. Oh. They did a weekly show for Sundays that was syndicated across the country. What I worked on for them, they also used to do like after school specials or movie of the week type things.
Oh, okay.
For the teenager that maybe drank, being offered the underage drinking.
That could have been one of our movies that we shot.
It should have been.
Man.
But it was basically, good natured and, tell a story and have a lesson learned from it. And I worked on 2 or 3 of those for them out there that they would shoot.
Now, I want to get to the connection of how you got to Full House, because second season you came in as our stage manager, and I didn't know you got the job.
Right.
So I show up on our Full House set. We were still at Lorimar Studios in Culver City. I show up to work, and he's there. And I said, "What are you doing?" And he said, "Go over there. I'm your boss now." And I'm like, "What?" And he got the job as our stage manager, and I didn't know it. Now, tell everybody what the stage manager does.
Well, that's a good question. Stage manager is basically an assistant director. Back in those days, the director worked from the booth with the associate director and the technical director, and the stage manager was his right hand for the stage. They managed the stage, wore a headset. They would talk to the stage manager, and I would give the information that he was doing, notes, talking to cameras, talking to actors, talking to makeup and hair, and basically run the floor as his right hand. But I had worked, I got into the union, the Directors Guild Union, a year or 2 before, had worked, and actually I had interviewed for the show when it first got picked up.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
And I think and primarily the reason I didn't get it was because I knew you and knew Bob.
They said, "Oh, you're going to be goofing around too much?"
Producers were like, "We need someone to control these guys, the comics, not to be one of their cohorts and causing trouble." And I think that was the reason I didn't get the job.
So then you just did the 1 season of Full House, right?
Yeah, just the 1 season.
And then where'd you go after that?
I was offered the job, I think, on Family Ties.
Oh, okay.
I went, or it might have been, or reverse. I went to Family Ties first and then came there. But I was able to continue on because I was always trying to look to advance my career and not just be a stage manager, be an associate director and work my way up towards directing. So if other shows had that offer, that's where I eventually would go.
So that's where I want to go next. So then you're stage manager. What's the first show that you direct? Was it What's Happening Now?
No. What's Happening Now was the first show as in the DGA as a stage manager.
Oh, okay. All right.
The first show directing was because after a few years of, like I say, working as an associate director, working in the booth, working on lots of shows and looking for that break, looking for someone to say, "Yeah, we'll give you a shot here to direct."
Right.
The first one was Malcolm and Eddie. Kim Weiskopf, who I'd worked with originally, was co-executive producer of that show.
Right.
And he said, "Yeah, if you come in and work as our associate director, we'll give you a shot at directing. We'd love to have you." And that was where I started. And I did 1 episode. It went very well, very technical episode. Ended up doing like 4 more that year, and then got hired as the main director the next year.
So that was the first show where you did multiple episodes, like on a single series, right?
Yes.
Okay, so see, I thought I knew answers to all these questions. I don't.
Not even close.
Because we don't talk about that stuff. It's just like, hey, you want a peanut butter and jelly sandwich? Oh, we're out of peanut butter. We did have a sandwich contest one time.
Yes,
and
we did.
I threw up.
You won.
Well, we took everything in our apartment and we took any ingredients. You could make any sandwich. And we had a sandwich contest. And we started making each other laugh so hard that I took a bite of my sandwich and I threw up. And
it was good.
And it was, do you remember what you said?
Points off for puking.
Points off for puking.
Because, the sandwich, you're getting points for adding ingredients.
Right. And we've used that every time there's a vomit joke. We will look at each other and go, hey, points off for puking.
Some of my best material.
So everybody here is going to know, other than Full House, The Big Bang Theory.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
All right. So you become their regular series director. Mm-hmm. How many episodes did you end up doing?
I think it's like 249 out of 278.
Yeah, 249, which is really unusual.
Yeah.
That just never happens. Now, was that? I mean, sometimes, like with Cheers, it kind of happened.
Yeah, you had
Jimmy Burrows.
Back in the early days of sitcom television, it was more common for one director to stay with a series.
Right.
And that started changing more so around this time of the early 80s,
right,
mid 80s, because there were a lot more shows. They didn't want to pay direct. They didn't have as many good directors that could handle all the shows, and partly they didn't want to pay directors if they were going to fire them,
right?
Which would happen if you were paying a director for the year and fired them after 3 episodes because you didn't get along with them. You'd have to pay the director for the whole.
It's like a pro contract.
Yeah, you'd have to pay him for the whole year. So they started. That's when they started. Oh, we'd hire a director for 3 episodes, another one for 3, and another one for 3, and we'd see which one worked, and if the cast got along with them, if the producers got along with them.
You obviously got along with the Big Bang cast. Yeah. Was that a Chuck Lorre decision? Did he ever come to you and just say, hey, Mark, I want you to, or was it kind of like one of the other showrunners, executive producers?
No, it was Chuck. I mean, Chuck was the guy. The co-creator was Bill Prady, who was actually a Detroit native, and part of the reason we connected in the interview because he's a big Tiger fan, and we were talking about Tiger baseball. Yeah. And as we were going off about all sorts of things, we're the same age. Chuck Lorre sat there and looked at us going, what is wrong with you guys? But then once I started doing the first year, again, multiple directors, I did the first 3 episodes. Then they used a couple other directors, and then they were in the middle of an episode, they fired a director, and I came back and finished the episode. And so that was kind of the key, because people were like, oh, you saved the show. And I was like, not really. It was I just came in and finished it off. But it was such a bad experience with this other director that I looked even better and smelled even sweeter. So it was after that.
I can't believe you just said that about yourself. I smelled even sweeter. Yeah. And you got nominated for an Emmy for
a couple of times.
How do you get notified of that? Who actually tells you?
Well, it's interesting.
Someone from the Directors Guild?
No. The Television Academy. Right. Actually, you go through the whole nominating process. You put in episodes, people look at it, then other people vote on it, and they whittle it down to 5. At the time, it was 5 episodes. And the funny story about the very first time I was nominated, they announced it then. There's a big thing for the Academy Awards and the Emmys in the morning. They'll have big announcements of who's nominated. Yeah. And it goes out. I forget what programs show it, but it's all over the place first thing in the morning. And I watched that morning, and it was like, oh, okay, I know this person got nominated, this person, whatever. And I was editing a pilot, working on a pilot at the time. And all of a sudden I get a call about 4 hours later in the editing bay, and it's the president of the Television Academy. And I knew him, and he's like, Mark, he goes, good news, bad news. He goes, good news is you're nominated for an Emmy. Bad news is we forgot to announce it this morning. I was like, what? And so there was a whole roller coaster of emotions going on there. I was thrilled.
You're on the team. We just don't have a jersey for you.
Yeah. I was nominated. Yet no one knew. But it ended up probably working out more in my favor, because then they had to do a separate announcement later that day. Yeah. Apologizing, and that went out. So I had all my own time to be nominated, and the stories about me and how it happened. And so it ended up working out for the better.
The heck of a run, man. Yeah. And you still keep in touch with a couple of the Big Bang people, right?
Oh, yeah, with quite a few of them. I mean, the crew, my AD.
Some of the actors.
Kaylee Cuoco. We've stayed in touch with Kunal, played a lot of golf with Kunal. Yeah. And stay in touch with all of them, actually.
What advice would you give to, because when I was first starting to direct, I would come and observe you. Yeah. And what I'm always amazed at is you've got everything in your head. You've got everything in your head. I look at your script, how it's marked. It's just kind of petroglyphs, but
Greek.
It's Greek to me. But it's amazing how well technically you've done the process so much. You just know you've got the whole show in your head already.
That's years of working as a stage manager, seeing how directors work, watching quad splits, working as an associate director, picking up, bits and pieces from established directors on what works, what doesn't work, and knowing what to do from good directors and bad directors.
For our audience who's watching and listening that are thinking about being a director, what's your like one sentence advice that you would give them?
Don't.
Don't. What? No. You can do a whole sentence, not just one word. Yeah.
It's the one sentence is very tough. It's a tough business, and don't expect to have it handed to you. I guess that'd be the best way to put it.
Yeah.
Like you said, the good directors are people that pay their dues, spend their time in the trenches, learn the craft, and make the most of it, and we'll get a shot and then run with that shot. You get, part of it today is very easy. Anyone with their phone can make a movie and do an Instagram or TikTok.
This right thing. Here. I mean.
Anybody can do it.
Set up a few cameras, you got a show. Yeah.
But it's you just to take it to the next level.
Yeah.
It takes a little more than just.
Well,
doing that.
I always tell people, that I know you, that how hard you worked all the way up, and you hit every single rung on the ladder. I mean, you really worked hard. I'm proud of my friend. What's coming up? What shows are you working on?
Cut it out.
What's there.
I just finished up this season. I mean, the strike did not do well.
Yeah.
I mean, it did well, but for a lot of people, it hurt a lot of people, and there was not a lot of production. I've been doing for the last 4 or 5 years The Neighborhood with Cedric the Entertainer.
Right. Yeah. Funny show.
Doing a dozen, 10, 12 shows a year or so. And that's been a lot of fun. And then I was also with Mayim Bialik this last season, did some Call Me Cats, which was her show that she was doing, I think, on ABC or Fox. Yeah. And then, but right now, waiting to see what comes up next. Hopefully, The Neighborhood will get picked up again. I'll do that. I'm up to do a couple of pilots, possibly. But everything's very slow right now because the strike slowed things down, and they're going to wait till the fall to see if things pick up. Very few pilots were done.
Pendulum will swing back.
I hope
it always does.
So.
Well, but thanks for doing our little show here. We're gonna play a little game. Okay. We're gonna play a little game. This game is actually called Just Plain Goofy. All right. On episode 19.
Do I need pads?
You don't need pads or anything.
Okay.
No, I'm gonna ask you some questions. You're gonna probably you can't lose in this game.
Okay.
Every guest who's on the show, they always win.
Okay.
It's amazing. Our track record, always win. All right. So this game
Panama
is called
Canal. Sorry.
No.
I started early. Sorry.
Slowly I turn. Step by step. Is it inch by inch? Step by step?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Three Stooges. All right. So this is Just Plain Goofy on episode 19. The family misses a trip to Disneyland when their flight is canceled due to fog. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to ask you some questions related to Disney, and we're going to see how many you get correct. But you're still going to win a prize.
Okay.
You're still going to win a prize. You
Disney
ready?
or Disneyland?
We'll see.
Oh, boy.
We'll see. See, smart class. He's already thinking. All right. Okay. Question 1. What season did Full House shoot another 2-part episode at Disney World?
Disney World.
We did 8
Florida.
seasons.
8 seasons. It was later on. Mm-hmm. I would say I don't think it was at the end. I think it would be season 6.
Ooh, ding, 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 ding. Man, that special math class.
Thank you.
1993.
Thank you very much.
Show was. You're killing it. You're killing it. All right. Which one?
Can I quit now?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. Which one of the 7 dwarfs slept all the time?
Boy, that's a tough one.
That's
I would have to say it wasn't Doc. It wasn't Bashful.
No.
It wasn't Sneezy. I'm gonna go with Sleepy.
Sleepy, ding, 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 ding. Man, you're on a roll. That's 2 for 2. Okay, who was Disneyland named after?
Oh man.
Okay. Eddie Land.
Walt Whitman. No, Walt Disney.
Walt Disney. Ding, 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 ding. See, our fans at home love this game. because they're playing along going, oh, man.
Oh, they got it before me.
I could be in a special math class. All right. Okay. Finish this sentence. Ready? Hi ho, hi ho.
It's off to work we go.
Ding, 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 ding,
Wow.
ding, ding. All right, man, you are rolling. All right, final question.
Oh, man.
Final.
I'm 4 for 4?
You're 4 for 4.
Okay.
Okay. Disneyland is located in Anaheim, California.
Mm-hmm.
What city is Disney World located?
I would have to go with Orlando, Florida.
Oh, man, and I'm going to reach in and give you your prize because
Oh, man,
everybody's
what
a
is
winner. Look what you get, a Cut It Out T-shirt. The
come
irony.
on. Oh, my
the
goodness.
irony of it all.
Wait a
okay.
second. Shouldn't I be getting paid for this?
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that because look at that. It's a check for $1 million. So you get to take that home.
That's my cut
Look
of
at
Cut
that.
It Out.
That's your cut of Cut It Out. $1 million for Cut It Out. There's today's date. It's not signed, but because I don't know if we have enough in the budget.
Could you
here? But
could you just post date it if you sign it?
I probably can. We'll talk afterwards. But yeah, so see that?
Wow,
You didn't know.
very nice.
Yeah. Sometimes on this show, we come up with the big bucks.
I am.
Look at that.
I'm impressed.
Yeah, it's like
means we don't have to do another comedy show.
No, never
at high school.
Never. That's like the Publishers Clearinghouse
I know.
giveaway.
Thank you. I should be doing a commercial.
Man, that is. We'll get a picture of you later.
Great.
Yeah. So, like I said, everybody here at Full House Rewind is a winner. All right. But we get to do one more thing before we say goodbye.
Oh,
Of course, because now it's time for Cut It Out. Cut It Out. Of course, every episode of Full House had a heartfelt scene, and we have cut out a scene from episode 19 that we're going to read together. So, Cinder, grab your script,
okay.
and I'm going to be playing the role of Joey. You're going to be
that's
playing.
a stretch.
I know. Well, you gotta plan this stuff, So you're going to be playing the role of Jesse. All right.
Wait.
So let's cue that music.
My hair's not long enough.
Let's.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Let's cue that music. Oh, there we go. Okay. All right. There's a knock on the door, and Jesse says,
Joseph, be honest with me. Doesn't living here get to you sometimes?
"No,
Never?
never. I love it."
You mean to tell me you love changing diapers, making school lunches, chasing the girls all around town, changing diapers, helping with them with their homework, picking up their toys? Did I mention changing diapers?
Well, some of those tasks are a little more rewarding than others.
All right. Why? Why, Joey? Why are you happy here?
Well, Jess, I think because growing up, I didn't have brothers and sisters, and I like being part of a big family. I like having people to care about, and that includes you.
Oh, thank you.
And besides, this is the only place I've ever lived that always has ice cream in the freezer.
But Joey, don't you ever ask yourself, what am I doing? I mean, I used to be this freewheeling, living on the edge, no strings kind of guy. Now it seems like I'm married or something. I have all the responsibilities and hassles of 3 kids, yet I can't even deduct them from my taxes.
Well, technically, you could if you married Danny.
Joey, do you realize every night I sleep here, I sleep alone?
You want to get bunk beds?
No, I don't, Joey. I'm pouring my heart out here to you, and you're making jokes.
I know. I'm sorry. Okay, come on, talk to me.
Jeez, I don't know. I guess it's just this whole situation. It's just getting to me. I mean, I have zero privacy. I try to write my music, and I have all these distractions. I write music. I write it out of my own living experiences, My last 3 songs have been about changing diapers, the measles, and tub toys.
I thought that tub toy song was very danceable, honestly.
I just have things to accomplish in my life. There's things I want to do, and there's things I want to experience. I mean, I don't know. Maybe living here is holding me back. I don't know what the hell's happening in my life, pal, but I got to regain control of it.
Hey, Jess, look at the bright side. If you hadn't moved in here, we'd never be as close as we are.
I know.
Hey, sleep on it. And they high five and they hug, and that is the end of the scene. Always brings a tear to my eye, and now I've got another tear in this eye because we have to say goodbye to Mark Cendrowski.
Come on.
Thunderous applause. Here's some of my thoughts about episode 19. Chelsea Noble is our guest star on this show. She plays Samantha. John and Chelsea started dating during the show, and they were a blast to hang out with, and we even went on a trip together to Hawaii. They dated for a couple of years, and Chelsea, as I mentioned in episode 18, would eventually marry Candace's brother, Kirk Cameron. Now, there's a funny dream sequence in this episode where I do an impression of what Michelle's voice would sound like if she could talk. I loved doing that voiceover, and I was thrilled when the producers asked me to record it. Now, in the dream sequence, Mary-Kate and Ashley would appear on camera together for the very first time on an episode of Full House. There's a scene in the girls' room where Danny and Joey discover Jesse's note. My character, Joey, says to Danny, "Jesse ran away from home?" Well, Bob and I couldn't stop laughing at that line, and we had to do about a dozen takes to try and get it. For some reason, we just thought it was really funny, and it took us about a half hour to finally get the line. I have to say, this happened a lot when it was just me and Bob in a scene together. We lost it a lot of times. We like to hear your thoughts about Full House, so tell us about your favorite episode or just why you love the show so darn much. Or maybe you got a question for me, who knows? Send us an email with the link at socials@podco.us. We close every episode of Full House Rewind by giving all of you who need it a hug. This episode was about running away, and this week our hug goes out to those who feel like the only option they have is to run away from their problems. There's no shame in that. Sometimes, well, we all get overwhelmed. I hope you can find the support you need, but for now, I'm sending you mine. So for all of you who need it, here's your Full House hug. Come on, bring it in. There we go. All right, that's our show. We'd like to thank our special guest, Mark Cendrowski, for stopping by. Join us next time here on Full House Rewind, and you can watch all of our episodes on our Full House Rewind YouTube channel. So long, everybody. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Full House Rewind. We'll see you next week.